Why was Germany allowed to rearm after World War II? In 1945, Germany lay in ruins, defeated, occupied, and disarmed. It seemed the world had ensured that it would never pose a threat again. The Allies dismantled its military, and there was no question it was gone for good, or so it seemed. Yet, just 10 years later, something shocking happened. Germany was rearming. The very nation that had plunged the world into war was once again building an army. How did this happen? Why did the same countries that fought to destroy Germany's military suddenly allow it to rise again? The answer isn't what you might expect. It wasn't about mercy. It wasn't about trust. It was about fear. By the early 1950s, the world had entered a new kind of war knot. One fought with tanks and trenches, but one fought in the shadows. The Cold War. The Soviet Union had developed nuclear weapons, and then a shockwave. In 1950, a Soviet-backed army invaded a US-backed country. The Korean War had begun, and suddenly, the West saw the terrifying possibility of history repeating itself in Europe. For the United States, this was a nightmare. They were already fighting in Asia. Could they afford another war, this time in the heart of Europe? They needed reinforcements. And where was the first place they'd look? West Germany. But not everyone agreed. Britain was hesitant, fearing that a militarized Germany would provoke the USSR. France was outright opposed. If Germany got its military back, France's dominance in post-war Europe would be at risk, and the Soviet Union? Furious. Moscow warned that if Germany was rearmed, it wouldn't be long before German soldiers were marching toward Paris, or Moscow again. But there was one problem: East Germany was already rearming. The USSR had begun building its own German military, and that changed everything. If the Soviets were doing it, could the West really afford to hold back? The US convinced Britain quickly if Germany rearmed. Britain could reduce its own military spending, something a struggling post-war economy desperately needed. But France? That was the real challenge. So, how did they get France to agree? Simple. Economics. If France blocked Germany's military, Germany's economy would soon surpass France's, making Paris irrelevant in European politics. That was the breaking point. And so, West Germany began its shocking transformation. Within years, it went from a shattered, defeated nation to one of Europe's strongest military powers. The plan worked, but the consequences would last for decades. So, was this the right decision? Did the Allies create stability or lay the groundwork for another conflict? History tells its own story, and perhaps it's still being written. Please subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to turn off notifications. There will be a lot of interesting things.